of a different change of scenery today. So I'm actually at work. This is my office. This is what I do. Fixing a bulldozer at the moment. Lots of welding repairs going on. Everything repairing. And I'll bring my covers so I can shave them. Got this nice Dremel here. So it'll make quick work of it. Better than my one. And what I want to do here is shave these covers. They've already been shaved by my mate Bill at Vantage Fab. And I want to make these nice and flat on the sides, so I'm going to remove these and these. Now what those usually are the little bolt holes to put your coil cover on, but I don't like the look of it and I want this nice and smooth. Essentially the same as the other side of the cover, which is like that. Obviously there is a lip on the other side here, so I can't do anything about it, but it should look a lot nicer. Finished up the covers a bit earlier, so I'm taking all the ridges off the sides and all the high rises, little mounts for the coil bracket, or sorry, the coil cover, just left with tiny little holes there, which is where the threads were, just a bit lower, same as that one, nice and shaved down the edge, and all shaved in here as well, every single riser taken out, all flattened, beveled the edge, which had a little lip on it. Should be good, but as close as you can get to billet. Well, fast forward a bit of time here. Last time I was shaving the covers for the 30, which I have still done. Just need to give them a little tickle up on the orbital, smooth them out, and then my mate Liam is gonna give them a spray, so they should look pretty good. In that meantime, I got smoked in a car crash, which is pretty sick. So I was riding my bike, which was, it's usually in the background of my videos sometimes. Been sitting there for 3 months with a bent wheel. That one specifically. So I looped a 12 o'clock a while ago and bent it. So I took it out on my first ride in 3 months and I got smoked by a Honda Odyssey. So yeah, that's pretty sick. They crossed the center of the line on the road into my lane and fucking straight cleaned me up. I was too close to the center line anyway, but they were in my lane, so I'm pointing fingers. So yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a pain in the ass to actually move around motors now and, you know, flipping around, try and talk stuff down, because doing head bolts, you gotta have your legs on the thing and hold the stand while you're doing it. So bit of a setback, bit of a pain in the ass, but I gotta work with what I got. So yeah, got myself a gangster set of crutches for probably 3 months. So, gonna have to work around that, but I get it done, and I guess that really does give me more free time. And more free time obviously means that I can get more shit done, which is good because I have an unbelievable amount of work to do. In that meantime, I need to get this welder sorted out. So I've got a 200 amp TIG and stick welder here, which arc welds perfectly fine, but refuses to TIG. And I believe the high frequency board has shit itself. So I'm gonna have to wrap that up, send it away up north and get someone to replace the board in it, a Waco repairer. And then I guess in my free time, I need to learn how to fabricate. Something I've always wanted to learn how to do, so I can make a custom exhaust on the Skyline, or, you know, a 4-inch bullhorn on the Laurel, or I need to remake the whole downpipe for that 2J Aristo. Bunch of stuff, screamer pipes, all that. Instead of relying on other people to do it, better do it myself. So that should be pretty good. Oh, without wasting any more time pissing around, because I can't change what I've got anyway, I'm gonna run into this 30 timing setup. Just dragged over me little box of what I have left, which is my T291, that's it, T291 belt, and my 2 tensioners. Now some people run 1 tensioner, 1 idler. I prefer 2 tensioners because depending on who drilled this and where they put it, it can be a bit off and too tight, and 2 tensioners lets me set the tension that I want. It is something to keep in mind because there is a certain measurement of where you should be drilling that top tensioner when you build a twin cam RB30, and not everyone gets it right. So yeah, if you have 1 tensioner and 1 idler, you could be facing a belt that is too tight and there's no deflection in it. So 2 tensioners just gives you more freedom, which is what you like. Now on here is the 2 factory nuts, and there's just 1 flat washer and a spring and a flat. So I'm going to replace that hardware and reuse the old nuts, just because they are the Nissan ones. You got me tensioner. I've got a pair of NSK ones. I'll show the part number in a second, but they just sit on there like that. Grab yourself a nice flat washer, round side out. Spring washer. There we go. I'll reuse these factory Nissan nuts because they are a 1.25 thread and I've only got 1.5 thread nuts anyway. Another one is down here in the factory location. Obviously this is a series 2 block, so I have this second landing here, but on a series 1 you don't. You've only got this, but you can get a series 1 to series 2 converter plate. PRP does sell one, but I kind of just recommend getting a series 2 block to start with. Same deal with that one there as well. Flat washer, spring washer, nut. So there we go. Always purchased my engine rebuild bits from STA parts. They have everything that I need. So timing kits, seals, the belt. Oh, actually, no, the belt wasn't from there. But most of the timing things and everything seal wise is from STA. And the timing bolts, typically I've got a Repco. The Gates Racing is not usually cheaper there. It's cheaper to get on NZ Performance, but the standard gate, especially for an RB30, is cheaper at Repco on trade than anywhere. Valve stem seals are also NZ Performance, the Supertex, and for a, I believe it's a T1042 or a T1041R, I forgot the part number, it's a Gates Racing RB20 and 25 and 26 belt is cheapest on NZ Performance. But yeah, most of the things I get are on STA. But if there is a cheap place in New Zealand where you can buy most of your RB rebuild bits, someone let me know. Okay, so I'm gonna chuck our lower timing gear on now. I had to do a bit of running around and find my bits and pieces. So pull that bolt out. You got your first washer, which is a more flat one. It has a very slight concave to it, and you'll know if you've got your used one because you have your teeth marks on one side. So you chuck that on there, which may be a bit tight. Not too bad in this case. Second thing is to grab your Woodruff keys. So chuck one of them in there in the back. You want to aim that down just a little bit to the front as well, just so it's kind of sitting like this. It's just so when you get your timing gear on and you put it on, it can slide on easier instead of hitting a brick wall and not wanting to go on. Just put a little bit of assembly lube on the cranks now, just got a light coating, and that's just so it doesn't seize on there again. If you're one of the unlucky guys that went to disassemble your motor and that was seized on there, there's a good chance you probably have one of these that is split in half. Unless you're lucky enough to pull it off, but I've just never bothered. So just to prevent that seizing on there, that should help. There's also a dot on one side. Now it is not this side because it's got this ring in here. I'll flip it over and you have a flat face with a dot. That is your timing mark. So you want to sit that on there and then tap that home. Just tap that on there so it's not seized. Got a little bit of movement. You don't want this flopping around, but it's a little bit free. Cool. Means it should come off next time. My belt at the ready. So it's a 152 tooth and 25mm wide belt. This is the T291R by Gates. I believe there is another one off a Volkswagen diesel, but I'm not sure what the part number was, and I didn't go digging for it at Repco because these are tried and proven. So you just want to make sure your words are facing you like this, because belts are directional. Now your first timing mark on an RB, this is the same for all of them. This dot on your timing gear should match this little notch right in your oil pump. That should be in there. And on your back plate, you have, well, on your cam gears, you have these dots right here. And they should match the back plate, which I do not have on here. There'll be a little line to match it up. Now I've done this a few times, so I know these lines are a bit more up than that, but I will figure out how to check this and then count the teeth in the belt as well. This is the back plate that came off this motor originally, and some absolute ape has ripped out the whole bottom left corner, and that was to fit that horrible brass push lock fitting, which I don't know why you'd put that on there when it's got a hold of 80 psi oil pressure, but it's whatever. So I would never run this again because it's been cut up. So what I'm going to do is cut down with the angle grinder. I'm going to cut down in here, and I'll leave these two holes so that can mount on the mounting parts. And what that'll allow me to do is slip this behind the gears and then give me timing marks, which are right here and right here, and I reckon that is the way to do it. It did take me just a hot minute to cut that up, but I made it work with keeping the most possible. So I've got this bolt hole here, and there is a bolt hole in the back, but I can't actually bolt it in because this cam gear is covering it, but it does locate on there, and that tells you where it sits. So take a look at your lines. I have now got my line matching my dot there, and the same on this side. So that means my crank is timed where it should be, and my cams are timed where they should be. Now I need to throw the belt on and tension it up to where it needs to sit. Belt is on. A little bit fiddly. Now, when you've got it set on, just make sure again you've got your timing mark lined up at the bottom, lined up at the top, or right there, and also right there. Just snugged my tensioner nuts down, and it's not quite the simplest to explain how to tension the belt. I believe there is a kg force rating, but I don't have one of these tools, and you'd find no one really does. So you really don't want it tight. If you can play a tune on it, just like that, it's too tight. It makes noise, it's way too tight. Just gone ahead and loosen them off, and this is too loose. So if your belt's moving like this, you've probably got a good chance at skipping all your teeth on your gears. On this side, a little bit loose as well. So you kind of got to go by feel. All tensioned up just for now, because I haven't turned it over yet. This side's got a bit of tension on it, it's all good. And this side is a little bit on the looser side, but like I said, we haven't turned it over yet. Rule of thumb some people go by is turning the belt 90 degrees on the longest point, but it differs motor to motor. So it would work on this, but it wouldn't work on a billet block since it stretches and whatnot. So now we're all timed up, we've got our mark set, and we've got our tensioners just snugged down. We're going to crank it over twice. You want to go throw your bolt back in, unless you got one of those fancy crank turning tools with a degree wheel on it from Hughes Race Built or whoever else makes them. This is all you're doing. You want to spin this round twice, and then recheck your marks, and then you check your tension. Giving it a crank round twice. We're in time here on the right hand side. We're in time here on the left hand side, and also still on the crank. Cool, that's it. No, it's not. Do your belt tension. So I'll just check this again. Now you've spun it around. I reckon that is just about right. That's about 90 degrees there. Got a bit of nice slop. And this side's not horribly tight. I reckon that's about where it was in the middle. Bit of deflection. A little bit on the top. That is now timed. So what you're going to do now is torque down the tensioners. Online it shows these for a 26 det, which is exactly the same thing. 43 foot-pounds, same as what I do for the main brace. So I'll whip them down, give it a click, and then mark them. Just gone ahead and spun it around 2 more times. We are still in time, still in time, still in time. And the tension is still where I had it. Ideally, you should be holding it kind of when you're torquing it, but I have, well, one hand to film, one hand to torque, and one leg. Got most of the long block assembled. Gonna move on to the accessories. What I was wanting to do here is clean this alternator up. I didn't go LS1 in the end because, well, it's only going to move the motor on, so no point going buying big flash bits for it. So I want to strip this down, pull the pulley off from the bracket, we'll strip the casing out, and pull all the guts out of it, and give it a real good clean up, just like new. Paint it, or try and get the alloy nice and fresh again. Because usually you see them spray black and people go straight over the copper windings and it doesn't look good. So we'll rip this apart. It's got it all busted open. There's the back half of the case. That's the front half, all plates and a spacer. That's the guts of it, and then all the internal windings. So I don't really want them soaked in oven cleaner and water, so it's easy to pull it apart, which is just peace of mind. So I'll give these a good bath and oven cleaner. Even if they etch, that's all good, because when I go to paint it, well, it should stick quite well. So give these a clean up and yeah, see how they show up. Going out and oven cleaning them, giving them a rinse and a scrub up, and they are much cleaner. It goes for the front housing. So now that these are all cleaned up, and here I've just masked up, I've covered up the windings, so I'll spray this middle strip black, and I'll spray the housings in a nice silver. The silver in question is the same one I did the oil pump in, so it should look pretty nice. Done myself a bit of spraying, cleaned up that front pulley. I've sprayed the outside ring and the two housings, alternator bracket and the cam angle center bracket. So it should be starting to look pretty spick and span now. It's been drying for a bit, so I'll see if I can chuck that alternator back together. Gone ahead and cleaned the inside up and all the bolts and whatnot, all the bolt heads, at least what you can see. Got the zinc back on them. Yeah, try and reassemble it. There is the final product, since I'm down here in a chair sitting below. Much nicer. Nice clean casings, clean middle, all the bolts are zinc again. Looks pretty flash, I reckon. Got that cast bracket still drying there, and just giving that another coat. So I'll slap that on because that should be dry by now. Once again, I'm gonna keep that trend going. I've got some new hardware for this, so we'll pop that in. It just locates on the dowel there, like so. Nice new zinc bolts, should look the part. There we are. Looks quite nice with that on there. A bit more complete, but less bare looking. Installed the alternator, it's all on, brackets on, bolts are all cleaned up in the back, rings tightened up. That, for now, is looking pretty good. I get that left hand side cover done, painted. The other one is my engraved one I've done, but I'm gonna replace that with the other shaved one. Yeah, I reckon these are looking pretty spick and span. It's gonna be where I'm gonna pack it up for this one. Might be a bit of a shorter one, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, not much to do now. Chuck the exhaust manifold studs in, gotta do the covers, chuck the sump on, do the head drain plumbing, the VCT plumbing. That's the feed and also the drain. Just little things, so we're almost there. Yeah, for now, I'm gonna, well, leave it for this one. And yeah, tomorrow's another day.